Hey, what's up, friends? My name is Asia Marsh. I'm a momentum coach, and what I do is I work with ambitious multi-potentialites like you to get their goals. One of the things that I hear so often, and I struggle with myself, is how to deal with the stress that comes along with having so many projects going on at the same time, and that feeling of not making adequate progress on them, or just feeling stalled in general. And so that's something that I think on some level is a part of how we operate as multi-potentialites. But I have a few ideas for what you can do if you're in this spot. So the first one is just a little clarifying, right? So asking yourself, like saying, here are all the things that are going on, right? And so it's like, do any of them have a deadline? So those might be self-imposed deadlines, or they might be external deadlines, but identify what deadlines exist for the different projects you're working on. The next would be, what impact do they have? And this could be, depending on what they are and how you feel about them, this could be the impact they have on your life. Like, does it bring you joy? Does it bring you peace? Does it help you move forward in your career? All those kinds of things. So what impact do they have internally, externally? And then do they build on one another? So sometimes we have projects and we might have all different kinds of things, but they impact each other in different ways. So it might be that we need to finish one in order to make more progress on another, or there might just be some other things that we need to do in order to move forward in some of these ways. And then the next thing you can do is to kind of just reconnect with the intention of why you are pursuing these things. And so you can just ask, how do I want to feel? So, and that can be in a general way, not necessarily how do I want to feel about this project, but how do I want to feel in my life? How do I want to feel in this aspect or this area of my life? And so focus on that feeling, and then check in with these projects and say, like, how do I know when I'm done? One of the things that I really love and have embraced over these past few years has been to say, like, sometimes we just are done when we got what we came for. So there's lots of sort of arbitrary end points for things, or what seems like the right thing, but sometimes we're just finished. We got what we came for. We're feeling good about it. We no longer are like feeling really driven by curiosity or the need to dive deeper. So then that can be a finished point, but just identify for you, how do you know when you're done with the project? And really, like, asking yourself why it's important is, it seems so obvious, but asking yourself why this project is important is super helpful, because sometimes we also find that maybe the importance that it held when we started is no longer relevant, or no longer the driving factor. So ask yourself why it's important. And then the thing that I find is one of the most helpful for me is to sort of categorize everything that you're working on into different buckets, buckets, categories, whatever works for you. But sometimes if I kind of dump everything out on a piece of paper, like all the things that I'm working on and all the things that are on my mind, and kind of just like brain dump everything, and I can start tying things together. So for me, it's helpful to say, like, okay, well, maybe, I am focused on a music project, a sewing project, and a writing project, and I'm kind of not moving forward on any of these things in the way that I would like. But I can see that they all have a creation element, or a desire to be creating, or a need to be creating, tied into all of them. And that is really helpful, because if I kind of take this zoomed out look and say, okay, well, I have this bucket that's devoted to creation and creating and creativity. And if I look at it that way, I can say anything I'm doing that is kind of like filling that need is worthwhile, is important, and is okay. And then, I might also have projects like organizing a block party or volunteering, and that might be all around building community or participating in my community or being involved in my neighborhood, right? So those are all different things that are under this building community bucket. And the reason I think that this in particular is super helpful is that, we have to like extricate ourselves as multi-potentialites. We have to distance ourselves from this sort of common metric of like monotasking, right? Because that's not really how we function in the world. And so, these ideas of success, of progress, are all geared towards working on one thing at a time. And that, we do ourselves a disservice if that is how we're focusing on things. So just re-examine the metrics. And so that's why I think looking at categories can be helpful, because then you can sort of say, like, these are the things that I'm focused on as categories. And moving forward in any of those, in any way towards those, fulfilling the need for those categories is useful. And another couple things you can do are just to really redefine like what progress and success looks like to you. So as you re-examine those metrics, as you kind of like separate yourself from these common markers of success and progress that are out in the world for the mainstream, just think about what progress means to you, what success means to you, and how you define it for yourself and for your projects and for the things that you're excited about. And avoid kind of comparing yourself to others in that way. And the thing that I always like to leave everybody with, that whether I'm working one-on-one with clients or in group settings or in workshops or even things like this, I always like to leave you with identifying what your next tangible action is. What is the next thing that you can identify that is visible, tangible, physical action that you can take towards something you're feeling stuck on? And it should be small. It doesn't need to be an all-day kind of thing. It should be something you can complete in a few minutes or maybe a couple of hours, but an action that you can take that will help you move forward. And when you've identified that is a really great way to get unstuck if that's how you're feeling. But it's also a way to just kind of keep making steps, keep moving forward. And if you can identify several of those action steps that you can take and kind of plan for them ahead of time, that's going to really propel you forward as you are trying to get to completion with these projects and whatever completion looks like to you. So I think hopefully that's helpful. I really like the categories thing. For me, that is the buckets, like that is my most, that's my happy spot, because it helps me tie into that intention that I have and that I want to have. It helps me stay connected with my core values and make sure that I'm following projects and ideas that are important to me, and it just kind of helps me get to know myself a little bit better, and the sort of things I'm drawn to, and that can be really useful. So that's all. Let me know if you have any questions, and I wish you all the best on moving forward with what you're working on. But I'd love to hear what you're working on now, and how you might be feeling stuck, and let's chat it out.